You may disagree, but up to me, it's a fact. You're paying running backs, it ain't no fun in that. Yeah, the sermon about to start, so I hope you know your stats. And if Kev get it wrong, then Rashad gon' have his back with the facts. Matter of fact, all we do is say wins. When wings, congregation say amen. Trades, debates,
welcome to Preach Kev, Preach with Rashad. We are the Prophets in the episode. Another sermon coming at you from Wildcard Sports. Here on Wildcard TV, man, back on YouTube. We took a little break. I'm gonna blame Cam for that, while we went on YouTube. But now we back, man. Shout out to Cam, shout out to Has Been Podcast. But the Prophets are here. Rashad, man, what's going on, man?
Oh, it's all good, bro. Just ready for, it's spooky season out here, man. So Halloween and all that kind of good stuff, man. It's fall time, Thanksgiving, salute the veterans, they coming up. You just got a lot of stuff coming up, man. October's winding up, weather's changing.
Boy, it's cold, boy.
That daylight saving time is about to hit, man. So, a lot of stuff just kind of in the air changing, man. So a lot of change, and of course, like it's Halloween, so it's spooky season, man. Just been watching all kind of Halloweens, Child's Play series, Candyman series, just deep down on the movie theme right now.
I'm about to say, yeah, I know I had to bring out the Halloween town. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch Hocus Pocus, the little classics from growing up. But gotta watch those. I'm actually going to the Vikings Cowboys game Halloween night. That's gonna be a fun little vacation. It's gonna be I checked the weather in Minnesota, bro, boy. 30.
It's that time, bro. It's really gonna start dropping for real. Man. I hope everybody got a chance to get in the pool. Like, depending on where you live there, I hope you got a chance to get in the pool one last time, or if you going to an indoor pool. But just to be outside of the outdoor pool, man, it's that season about to be over with.
Hey, I got my jacket ready, bro. I just had to go ahead and get ready because it's about to be a cold one. It's about to be a cold one. So we got a good show. Pretty much. It'll be basketball related, man. NFL news. The same old. Prophet Theory mid-season coming around the corner, man. Make sure y'all stay tuned for that. But man, we got to talk about the releasing of the 75th anniversary 75 list best NBA players of all time. You had a lot of different things like guys being left off. Of course, every list gotta have the snubs. But hey, it is what it is, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the same 50 that made it in 1996. Am I correct? That's right. That's the right year.
But that's what they did pretty much. They kept the same 50 and just
add 25.
Yeah, if they added 26 because there's 76 people on there, but basically, just for the last 25 years, pretty much. So they kept the original 50 and they added the best. Or the most deserving 25, 26 because of the time of the last 25 years. So
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do our own adding the 20, and we'll add 26. We'll add 26. We got enough time in the show to add 26 on there. So obviously, first off, we talk about the list and we go through the list. Shaq made it 4 years into the NBA, all time great.
Stuff like that's just future proofing it, man. It's kind of like how if you go look at the votes for this time around, some people voted for Jokic, some people voted for Luka. They just kind of just future proofing it. And at the time, Shaq really was like those. When they put the list out, he had been dominant those years. Like they were already forecast he's gonna be a future MVP and win titles.
I'm about to say because he already at that point made it to the finals. Had deep runs with that Magic team. So. That's crazy to see that somebody like Shaq stature made it already. So I don't think you can be crazy like you said if you can predict the future about what a player is going to be. So we pretty much got a consistent 19 players. We got one that's probably should be in there, but I feel like we should leave him off to talk about him getting in there, right? So we'll just go through. We'll just break it off in tiers, Rick. Well, not even in tiers, but just name off people real quick. For a 19 that's already in that we're adding to the best, right? So Kobe, LeBron, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Chris Paul, KD, Steph Curry, James Harden, Giannis, Dwight Howard. So let's stop there. So Dwight Howard didn't make it, right? So he didn't make it, and I feel like they got that wrong. And me and you are on the same page here that Dwight Howard should be not only a shoe-in, like what. Like, why was it even a debate? Why was it even a vote? And you know, the media had their own little sways about different things. But if we're talking about strictly the basketball player, Dwight Howard, you know, you got your main big men all-time centers, but he's right there on the list when you're talking about defending, rebounding champ, defensive player of the years, all NBAs, leading the team to finals. He got everything you need. And it was some years where he was averaging like 20, 25 and 14. Like this is a man amongst boys at one point. And he's not even 7 foot. So what's your case or your case I guess against other media people when you talk about Dwight Howard?
I don't know why outside of just not being liked because of the way the whole Orlando thing played out, and then you go to LA, and depending upon who you ask and stuff like that, what media outlets you follow, basically Kobe thought he was soft, so he dipped from LA. He went to the Rockets. You link up with James Harden, and pretty much, you know, he still had some solid years in Houston, but they didn't really get to where they ultimately should have got to, which was the finals when James Harden was ascending and pretty much at the peak of his powers too. Dwight was kind of coming down, but he was still putting up double, 16 and 10, 15 and 10, stuff like that. And so basically after that, he kind of started to bounce around. So that stuff can kind of hurt your reputation around the league, Hawks, Charlotte, you know, it's kind of just going. He
averaged double-digit rebounds everywhere he went.
Yeah, he was still bouncing around. He was still putting up decent numbers on some teams. And, of course, we know the whole thing of at Dwight's peak, when you look at his peak, he's had one of the best peaks ever. 8-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, 8 times All-NBA, 5 times All-Defense, led the league in blocks twice, led the league in rebounds 5 times. Some of his accomplishments are better than guys who were locks on the list. So stuff like that just makes you wonder, like, you know, it's kind of like the whole TO thing with the NFL. You kind of got to, this isn't the Hall of Fame, but it's still a list that should be showcasing the history of the game. And of course, he made that finals run with Orlando, beating Boston and beating LeBron's teams, which were the people of that time at his peak. So it just lets you know that there is always going to be some biases and stuff like that just going around the league. And unfortunately, he's just a casualty of that because I think he's one of the 10 best centers ever. I think he's probably number 7 or 8 if we're keeping it real.
I was just about to ask you. I was about to say, who'd you rather have, Dwight Howard or Pat Ewing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a conversation.
His resume is basically better than Pat's. Like Pat's 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 3 times All-Defense, and he made one finals with the Knicks in '94. He lost as well, but Dwight's resume is overall way better than me. I saw just a few more All-Star bids. It's basically the same resume. So, you know, skill set wise, you can kind of differ on that for era or something like that. But I still think Dwight right there is one of the 7 or 8 best centers of all time. Of course, you got your Kareems, your Shaqs, Wilt. We love Elijah Wan. You got Moses. You got David Robinson. But after that, I think it's fair game to start saying Dwight. Of course, we're gonna respect the history of the game, and you know you're gonna throw Bill Russell out there for what he did. But you put Bill Russell in the game today, that's Clint Capella to me. And I think Dwight, I think Dwight better than Clint Capella. So, but and that's with all due respect, man. You gotta respect the history of the game for what Russell did at his time. He was that dude. But man, I think you start trying to move arrows around, Dwight would have been Bill Russell or better, because one of the biggest players in the league on the shooting like mid-40s field goal percentage wise. Come on now.
How 65?
The dunk machine.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And more athletic. I mean, I know it's the time changes, but it just So I think the fact that you have to, when you talk about the David Robinsons and the Pat Ewing, I don't think you go too far behind before you say Dwight Howard, and I think that's the point. Like, if you're got 75, I know this is loosey goosey math, but 75, I expect top 10 for each position. And if you view Dwight Howard a top 10 player, then
at least pretty close to it,
right? At least, yeah. So if you view Dwight Howard a top 10 center, then I expect him to be in there in the top 75. So for us, he's in there. I don't understand. I guess I get all the other stuff, but I'm going to ride Dwight. Like I said, we said Kobe, LeBron, Duncan, Iverson, Chris Paul. I don't think you can argue those guys. KD, Curry, Harden. We mentioned the Giannis success, the domination, this little stretch that he's having now. He can win MVP. He's in that category where I can win MVP every year. Like, and as long as you're in that category, that alludes to greatness. Like, we always keep saying, why Kobe only got one MVP? Like, I think Giannis would be in that same boat where he only got 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? He only got 2. That's it. And because he's on the pace where he's already, you talk about who the best Buck is, Kareem or Giannis. That is a crazy 6-7 year run by either guy. Like, if you just look at Kareem as a Buck and then Giannis as a Buck, like those, just that career right there alone, that's just ridiculous. So you got to throw Giannis in. I think it's probably more of it's also a future thing. Like, the way he's going, there's no way you stop him right at this point. So I feel like he's also a shoe-in.
I mean, just to finish up the Dwight point, Bob McAdoo, who's a center, he also made it. So that's someone that, wasn't on the original 50, but made it this time around. 5-time All-Star, 2-time champion, MVP, 2 times All-NBA, 3-time scoring champ. So for his era, he did his thing. But that's still a guy that you could debate Dwight against. So why, a preference thing. I would still take Dwight. And then, of course, accomplishment wise, you got the Dave Cowens and the Robert Parrish. I would stack the Whites and even Bill Walton too. I would stack the Whites really up against those guys, and I think I would pick the White over them. But the Giannis point, man, Giannis, I think, is at the peak of his powers. When you start looking at NBA greats when they're around that age, 26, 27, which is right where Giannis is right now, that's normally when guys start to hit the peak of their powers, and he is starting to find that jump shot. Just numbers wise, he's kind of starting off slower than he's been in other seasons. Like right now in the last, really just looking at Giannis' numbers just overall, like he's at his second lowest career field goal percentage right now. He's basically at the last 6-7 years, this is his second lowest scoring average. And rebound wise, it's almost his third lowest. So he's pretty much at the peak of his powers, but numbers wise, he's kind of going down.
Right.
And that's just because it's only a couple game sample size. I mean, the last couple of years, he was 22.9 in points, 26.9, 27.7, 29.5, 28.1, and now he's at 24.5. So, I mean, he definitely has time to ramp that up. And then when you start looking at just analytics-wise, the dude only plays 30 to 32 minutes. So he's basically getting almost a point per minute. And if they were to run him in, not run him to the ground, but if they would have put just 35, 40 minutes
right.
on him, he'll start averaging over 30 for sure. I mean,
yeah.
Like, Michael Jordan, Kobe, some other guys, they were having to log 38 to 40 minutes. If you were to start dumping that on Giannis, yeah, his efficiency may dip down. He's at 47 right now, but perennial, he's been at 50 or better, closer to like 55 to 58. But if you start putting Giannis back up to that 35, 38 minute mark, he'll definitely start averaging 29 to 32 points a game.
Yeah, and I think when you do the per 36, that was always my argument of why Giannis was better than player A or player B, because he don't play enough. If he played, like you say, if he played the time, or really the Bucks in general, like Middleton don't play that much, But Lopez, they just don't play that much. And I think that's a pretty good recipe for being. Is the reason why Bucks were the only healthy team last year, right? Like, I think that proves it. Like, you don't have to kill your stars just to be competitive. So, yeah, the strategy. I challenge everybody just to take Kareem's Bucks career and put it in Giannis's. And like, obviously, you don't count the first year to Giannis because he just he wasn't projected to be this great, right? Kareem was.
No, I mean,
Kareem
I think Giannis' last 6 years when you really started looking at
the last 6.
Even if you count you can kind of count his third year where he kind of really started to go into like 16, 17 points a game. But the last 6 years, he's been averaging mid 20, like 23 or more since his fourth year in the game. So from there to the present day, you got to count those.
And isn't like Giannis in a stat where like only himself, Hakeem, and Michael Jordan are the only ones that have like, or maybe it's Larry Bird that have like an MVP and a Finals MVP, like 2 MVPs and a Finals MVP in 3 years, something like that. I think Hakeem and Larry.
Crazy run. I mean, like just resume wise, I mean, he's in an exclusive group already, and his resume is not even finished. Like I said, he's going to basically the peak of his power.
He halfway through.
5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Of course, they just won a title. 4 times All-Defense. He's gonna make All-Defensive team until he just gets tired of making it. Right. He's just the way they use him is just a safety, so he's gonna always be there for solid blocks or just some long arms to get some just back end steals.
Right.
I mean, of course, he was Finals MVP. He had 2 regular season MVPs. He's most improved player of the year at one point. So, I mean, his dude's resume is definitely not finished. I mean, you can definitely see him getting potentially another MVP because he'll definitely have the numbers for it unless people just get tired of voting for him. So he can potentially rack up another MVP, possibly another title, another Finals MVP, and at least 5 to 7 more All-Stars and All-NBAs, and maybe because at some point he'll kind of just start to back off on that end, maybe another 2 to 4 all-defensive players, all defensive teams, at least second team. His resume is definitely not done.
You say he got 5 now for All-Star and
All-NBAs and 4 all-defensive.
You just got to assume he's going to double both. That just makes at this point, he probably gonna double both at 26. Yeah, because even you double that 31. Kevin Durant 30? Kevin Durant up there.
Kevin Durant's 32, 33 right now.
So if we're talking about projecting Giannis just to be Kevin Durant age, you got to double it. Kevin Durant, I think Kevin Durant at that point, since then, when healthy, has hit every All NBA team there is. Like as far as when healthy. So yeah, I feel like Giannis is definitely on that track as well. So the other guys on this list, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, that trio of Boston. I feel like individually they probably be here like just by themselves, right? Carmelo Anthony, Kawhi Leonard, of course, Dwayne Wade, and then that's where you start asking yourself, right? 3-point guards, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Russ. I think for what they have done when you ranking point guards, that we talk about the same thing with Dwight. They're top 10 point guards. I expect them to be in the top 75 list.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, yes, Russ is the top 10 point guard for people who don't believe that. Yes. Jason Kidd, yes. Steve Nash, yes. Steve Nash, 2 MVPs. Kidd, the lower of triple double, but coach on the floor. You see he coach now in Dallas. And then Russ, Mr. Triple Double. So you got that 3 guys that brought different things to the game. Ace and Kidd to Jason. So he finally got to Jay. So this guys always improving. It's the Steve Nash offense with Mike D'Antoni. Like that took the lead by storm. And then what Russ is doing. I feel like yeah, you're right. Those 3 got to be shoe-ins. Like you said, with the top 10 point guard, I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, those guys' resumes speak for themselves. So like we said, Steph Curry is arguably, almost pretty clear cut the second best point guard of all time. I mean, he's gonna break all the 3-point records. He's been an MVP, scoring champ, all that kind of stuff. Chris Paul is up there as great leader, one of the all-time assist guys, one of the all-time steals guys. Steve Nash, 2 MVPs, what he did for the Suns and stuff like that. Of course, Russ, he's the triple-double crown right now. He'll probably have that for his whole career, for at least the next 20, 30 years. Because, the game is more guys like Luka and the Hardens are, they're going to get triple-doubles. But the way Russ is just so tenacious to get those rebounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to catch Russ for the same way it took Russ this many years to catch Big O. It'll be the same amount of time for somebody catches Russ or even attempts to catch Russ because everybody's just not going to get those rebounds like that. Plus, he's a former MVP, scoring champ, all that kind of stuff. So definitely got to mention those guys. We haven't got to some other guys like the Gary Paytons, Kyries, Tony Parkers yet, but we'll definitely get to them.
The where I want to go with this. So obviously the point guard, I think we pretty much explain ourselves on those. But for whatever reason, Paul Pierce out here like acting like he wasn't gonna be on this list. Like I think the theme is you were top 10. Paul Pierce a top 10 small forward. Like after KD,
he probably like number 7 or 8, but he definitely top 10.
So he's a problem. Like this is before Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen joined the team. Like he always a bucket getter, producing. And he played good defense for the most part of his career too as well. So like let's Paul Pierce, man, slow down, man. I know you been in a strip club too much and throwing the ones, but you need to relax. We nobody hating on you no more. Like I don't know if people trying to hate on Paul Pierce or what it is, but the truth.
People definitely do, man. People definitely do.
I think because he just hate LeBron so much. He always got to bring LeBron in something. So.
Yeah, he gonna bring. Like the whole thing. Like I'm on ESPN, we got to talk about LeBron all the time. So and LeBron just has a huge fan base. So when you look at like the biggest fan bases, that's normally who Paul opposes. So he's gonna get hate. Like when you can't talk crap about LeBron without LeBron sexuals coming at you, whatever you want to call them. Of course, he beat the Lakers. So when you bring up what you did as a Celtic beating the Lakers, that's a huge fan base that's going to come at you. Mm-hmm. And then just the whole contingent of that 08 Celtics team pretends like they were low key like a dynasty. Y'all only won one title, bro. So like when you look at that aspect, like bro, y'all gassing yourself up too much. So when you combine those three. It's gonna bring some hate towards Paul.
Oh man, them boys. Hey, no lie, them boys. First of all, they still hate Ray Allen to this day, and them boys really. You're right. Them boys really think they the Bulls of the '90s and the Lakers 2000s. Like you weren't even the Spurs. The Spurs that went on back to back, but you not even you ain't win every other year like the Spurs did. Like come on, guys.
Yeah, they only got the 2 finals and you lost the second one. Like KG got hurt in 09, but still like. Y'all were getting bounced second round by Braun a couple of years, like the 2010s when he was entering his peak of his power. So, at least, make a couple of finals runs. Y'all only made one. KG was hurt in 09. You got there in 010, lost in game 7 in the cold. And that was it. Like, just making 2 finals ain't it. Like, even the 80s Pistons made 3 straight and got two back-to-back titles. Y'all didn't even do that.
Hey, that 08 team look crazy, man. Shout out KG though. Shout out Ray Allen.
Even the 2000 Pistons when we talking about this, they made 6 straight East Finals.
That's more. Yeah, they definitely more of a dynasty than the Celtics. Even though and they got one. So I'm about to say that is an actually interesting debate. Like who's more of a dynasty? That's easy. The Pistons. Like that's not even close. That's funny. So I said one name. I don't know if everybody glossed over it, but I said Kawhi Leonard. I don't like. This guy was almost the only person ever to win Finals MVPs. Well, I guess LeBron did too, but Finals MVPs in 3 different locations.
LeBron's the only one to do it so far.
With two franchises that probably don't know what winning was. Toronto Raptors. It was consistent, but never got over the hump. But in the Clippers, if he ever take the Clippers to the promised land. You might as well go ahead and stamp him forever. Like no matter how many teams you try to do, you got to throw him in there just because of that. So Kawhi Leonard, obviously the injuries are probably like keeping a toll on it, but you got to think about it. There's a lot of different players in every sport that had a great prime, but it wasn't long because of injuries or whatever it is. Terrell Davis come to mind in football. But you know greatness when you see it. And that's what Kawhi Leonard is.
Yo, I think Kawhi's already one of the 4 or 5 best small forwards ever. Like it's LeBron, Larry Bird, KD, debate that 2-3. And I think you got to start putting Kawhi right there. I mean, of course, you got to respect Dr. J and Scottie Pippen, but I'm putting Kawhi right there.
There's no way you take
behind Bron, KD, and Bird.
Like, because like, see, when people do these lists or rankings, I'm always interested to see how you like what is your criteria, because my criteria is, can you be my best player? That's one of my like it baked in my conversation. There's no way nobody in this world is picking Scottie over Kawhi Leonard. I just don't understand. Like to be my best player. No, if we're talking about team, still no. I like healthy. I don't really think that's
like,
I get it
for sure. Like
I get it.
He had a good year and a half the year Mike was gone as like the lead man, but
right.
Preferably he'll be your 2.
Right.
Preferably.
Right. And you know, I think he's good. I think Pippen is Pippen to me. All right, please don't get mad at me when I say this, people. Like he's the Paul George of the 90s. Like he can lead a team to playoffs, fine. Like I believe, but to get the title, that's a little far fetched. And you know, but you put him next to somebody who can. Oh man, this is the best duo in the league. Like that, and that's the conversation that Paul George is in now. So, yeah, Scottie. I mean, I just don't understand how people even. You know, you're right. Like Dr. J, you might have to battle somebody with Dr. J, especially the old heads on Dr. J versus Kawhi. But yeah, I think we can. I can comfortably say I'll take Kawhi at 5 before I take Pippen at 5, definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Kawhi. I think Kawhi's basically just depending upon how long he stays healthy and plays. He could potentially pass KD, like if he gets some more titles. But I think LeBron, Bird, and KD are that top 3. Of course, LeBron is arguably the GOAT, at least top 3 in that discussion. Right. We think Bird's a top 10 player all time, and I already think KD's top 10 all time. So I think Kawhi's right there on like that top 20, top 25. Of course, Dr. J's right there too. But I think Kawhi is right there on the tail end of that Bird KD talk. So I got him 4th all time in the small forward. So he definitely was going to make the list for me as one of 25 in the last 25 years.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we enter the so we got 19 guys out the way, cemented. Like I said, there's no need to harp on LeBron and Kobe and guys like that. Now, Bob McAdoo, you mentioned, made the team this time. I'm going to go ahead and say this, y'all. We ain't put Bob McAdoo on the list. I ain't put him on the list.
Yeah, I think that's the white spot.
If you ain't make it then, you ain't make it now. like that, I'm sorry you was 51 on the last team that came out, but not this time. So we removed Bob McAdoo out of here. He did make it. So now you talk about who's next. I can't forget this automatic. We kind of didn't say him either, but Dirk Nowitzki, automatic. So that's 20. Automatic in there. There's no reason for us to forget about Dirk Nowitzki, what he did to the game. So no need to harp on him either. I think that's pretty much clear cut.
Resume speaks for itself, man. One of the 5 best power forwards
ever. So and people argue too. Never be number 1, but a lot of people argue number 2. So that is what they take. But they all offensive, if you ask me. But all right, so we got 20. So we say we're gonna do 26. So we got 6 spots left, and it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that we have to debate right here. I feel like we probably gonna be on the same page for most of them, but maybe not. So I'm gonna throw a name out there. And we're not gonna say yes or no right now, but we're just gonna at least talk about it. The love affair and the hate people got for Anthony Davis making it right now in the top 75. So, and my thing with Davis is if I'm being consistent with my Dwight Howard take, right, top 10 power forward all time, I think we can put Davis in there right now, and we have before. So it's not. Like, and yeah, it's definitely projection and where you're going because he 26, 27 like Giannis too. So it's more projection, but this guy has the stats, the accolades to back everything up. It's just more about longevity and now you got the ring, so you take it off your back. So I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't make this list, but or why people are frustrated or like mad, I guess because Dwight Howard didn't make it. So I get it. So I guess I ask you this: if it was Dwight versus AD as your last one, who you taking?
I would go Dwight just because of the resume is pretty much complete. Davis is still kind of putting his together. I just think Dwight's a little bit more complete. Like all-star wise, all NBA wise, they're very similar. But Dwight has more all defensive teams, similar block champion, but those defensive player of the years is what tipped the scale over to me. Davis was a bigger contributor to the 2020 title, but they both on the same team and got the same title. To me, the title and even the tiebreaker is Dwight at his peak being a multiple-time defensive player of the year that would lock him in to me over Anthony Davis. Now, in the grand scheme of things, in 3 to 5 more years, AD's resume will probably surpass Dwight's and stuff like that. And just as an overall talent and player, like skill set wise, what AD does, shooting the ball, passing the ball, dribbling the ball, that is more than Dwight. Dwight was mainly a defender and dunks and stuff like that. If we were to just actually do the whole thing of is this player better than this player to player, Davis is better than Dwight. But for lists like this is more of a accomplishment, what you do at your peak type of thing, and Dwight's accolades just outweigh Anthony Davis's to me.
That's fair. I think yeah, I can agree with you on that. I do think Anthony Davis is a better player just because he has the defense, but he also had the offense that we wanted Dwight Howard to have. Like, Howard averaging 20 plus points just by dunking all day. Imagine if he had a move. Like, and you saw clips of him working with Akeem Olajuwon trying to get the footwork and writing all that kind of stuff. So he ain't like he didn't try. It just just the package wasn't all there. But yeah, Davis clearly though, like, so we got we put Duncan, KG, Dirk in. So that's the top 5 power forwards all time already in, and Karl Malone and Barkley already had made it before. The Kevin McHale is in it as well. So you already got the 6. So Giannis 7. So Davis. I mean, you got, but did Bernard King? He was on the list, right? So
no, Bernard King didn't make it.
Okay. Trying to think of the power forward. Dennis Rodman didn't make it.
Yeah. Well, Rodman just made the 75, but he didn't make the 50.
He made the 50. So I guess it's where I guess Do you think
of course, you got the older guys, the Pittits, the Dolph Shays, and those guys like that.
Do you view Dennis Rodman a top 10 power forward?
It depends how you're judging it, man. Like, of course, when we look at, that's why the whole, when people say look at the numbers type of thing, that's what really, for lack of a better term, that's what skews these greatest of all time debates and lists, because he was a one-sided player. He was going to be hustle, rebounds, and defense.
The impact of the game though was
so on the offensive side, and that's what you got to look at the term of accomplishments and greatest, because somebody can be more talented, but are they in the grand scheme of it greater? Somebody can have more all-stars, but Dennis Rodman played a huge part in 5 championships.
Right.
I mean, dude won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. He only made 2 All NBAs, but he's up there 8 times All Defensive Team. I think led the league in rebounding 7 times.
Too many times.
so stuff like that. And he's up there on the rebounding list and stuff like that. So on the offensive side, he didn't give you anything, points, assists, free throws. So when you look at just a numbers thing, you can't judge him off of that. But as far as greatness, what he accomplished, you got to throw him up there. And look, debatably, because I mean, you can go look at like a whole package of offense, defense, and legacy, and be like, well, I think Pau Gasol is better than Dennis Rodman. Yeah, because he's 7-foot dude, blocks some shots, mid-range skill set, 1-2 titles, couple of All-Stars, right. 4 or 5 time All-NBA. But how do you judge? It's like, how do you judge a Powell compared to a Dennis Rodman, or how do you judge a Chris Bosh to a Dennis Rodman? Like, it's not a 1-to-1 comparison because the guys' skill sets are totally different. Yeah. That's why you have to kind of use what their resumes were for their time. And Dennis Rodman accomplished a lot. Like he has a stacked resume.
So, all right. This is more of a tangent question, and I just want to see yes or no. I guess just where you decide on who is more important to the duo of Jordan and Pippen, Grant or Rodman. Who do you think is more important? I mean, at the end of the day, you both got 3 titles. So, who do you think is more important?
I mean, to the Bulls, I mean, I just think at the time you probably want to say Horace Grant because that was what really got it started. Like they kind of got Dennis on like the back end.
I'm about to say because Pippen and Pippen was still coming,
they were still all, Mike was at the peak of his powers, but Pippen was kind of coming into his peak of his powers, and Horace Grant. No, just from the aspect of them being younger and just being a little bit more dominant. On the back end, these guys are older. Like Dennis had been through everything with the Pistons, burned some bridges with the Spurs and stuff like that. So he was just kind of like, that missing piece for us. Like we need somebody to rebound and be tenacious and bring something different to the table.
Right.
So, I would say the Horace Grant Bulls were, if you played them, if you were trying to play a game, I would think those Bulls team were better because Mike and Scott were younger, peaking their powers versus, you're more seasoned on those later years. But I just think what Horace Grant could do on both sides was a little bit more valuable. Okay. For that time period. But as an overall player, you got to look at Dennis as better.
Okay, yeah. I was asking that. I was just saying because the impact of of what somebody could bring to a championship team, because like I said, you can't judge a Dennis Rodman, you can't judge guys like Draymond Green to the same standard of Pau Gasol or Chris Bosh because, like you said, it's different. It's different ways to be impactful, different ways to be great. So, I think Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis deserves to be over Rodman when you're talking about like the what the resume is going to be. The fact that Davis is one of the best defensive players in the last, let's just say 10 years since he's been in the league. He's been, I mean, obviously in college, that's why he won a championship being defensive. So you got because that you can eliminate Dennis.
Because it's offense and defense.
Right. So and that's going to put him over them. So Davis, are we going to say he's number 21 and we put him in because I guess a Dennis Rodman type of guy is like, do we put him in? He made it on the 75, and it's like, well, we only got 5 more spots left. Is he gonna get in? So I guess we can hold off on Dennis, but are we saying Davis is in?
Yeah, I think Davis is a lot. Like when you start looking at like the positions and where you rank guys, like Anthony Davis is one of already. I mean, he's only 28. He's been in the league a while now, but he's only 28, and I think he's already one of the 8 best power forwards ever. Like, we all talked about Duncan, we talked about KG, we talked about Karl Malone and Barkley and Dirk and Kevin McHale. Anthony Davis and Giannis are active right now, and they are 2 of the 8 best power forwards the game has ever seen.
Okay, I'm with you. I agree. We had Anthony Davis in this, so that's our 21. We go on the 26 5 spots, man. All right, so another debate that everybody was talking about, and I just want to go ahead and get it out of here, because I've been told I'm a hater, right? I've been told I'm a hater of this current player in the league. So I want to bring up 3 guys: Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, and then Klay Thompson. So, okay, maybe it might be a little hate coming from me, but I don't think when you mention those 3 guys in the same sentence, and I think we can also mention a guy like T-Mac and a guy like Vince Carter.
Yeah,
those 5 guys. I don't believe Klay Thompson fit. Like that little question, like a circle that don't fit. Ray Allen led his own team, Milwaukee and Sonics. Reggie Miller led the Pacers. T-Mac led multiple teams. Vince Carter led multiple teams. I'm not saying Klay can't do it, but I'm also saying Klay hasn't shown the potential to do it either. Because, yeah, we could say, well, he scored 50 points in a quarter, three quarter, whatever. But, okay. But I think when you have when you have two superstars on your team, I think it shows up, right? Like Kobe versus Shaq, or the rise of Kawhi overtook Tim Duncan as he go down, or whatever it is. If you're that good, regardless of how good the other person is, it shouldn't hold you back. Is that a fair statement to say? Like, I just don't know if you can get held back for this long if you're Klay Thompson, saying that, oh, well, he never had a chance to run his own team. But, like, look at Jaylen Brown on the Celtics. He has shown plenty of times where he can do it, and Tatum can just be a side piece. They can flip flop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be a Jaylen Brown. I don't know. I think at this point, he just don't belong when you say those 5 names.
Like, I always like to look at this stuff from like just the players themselves, and like just how like their years and everything shook out. Like, of course, there's a lot of great players, and there's only 3 All-NBA teams. So, like, the fact that you only made 2 All-NBAs, that kind of shows where you stack up amongst your peers, because you're in a league with a James Harden. So you're not the best 2 guard automatically. James Harden right there. You're not better than your own teammate, Steph Curry. So that's 2 guard spots that you're not getting, but there's still 4 other All-NBA spots. Yeah, you made it twice, but the times you made it, that was more, in my opinion, induced because of the team success versus your own ability and success. I mean, yeah, he's put up some good seasons, but what? I mean, even when you're sharing the ball with Steph, like even before the whole KD thing ever happened, your peak season was 21 and 22. KD comes 2017, you still average 22 points, and then you still average 20 and 21. So it's not like you can say KD hurt your numbers or something like that. Like, your stats stayed the same, and you were getting even easier shots because y'all can't double team Steph or KD.
All right.
And like even during those years, Steph missed some time. Your points didn't go up. KD missed some time. Your points didn't go up. Like, Klay's been one of the healthier players in the game, but just for really his, I would say 6, 7 year run. I mean, he's been a starter since year 2. Played all 82, 16, 18, 21, 22, 22, 20, 21. That ain't screaming all time to me.
And what's crazy I'm about to ask you is, which year is the All-NBA? They all seem the same to me. So basically you're saying he played the same, he stayed the same, and the years he made it, they won 73 games. And the year he didn't make it, they probably won 58. But you're the same guy. And I don't know, like to me, and like I said, it may come off haterish, but I don't know what the reason for his why everybody like loves him so much and puts him up there with toward the greats, because they scream all time elite defense, like, oh, he's elite 2-way. I'm like, he made one defensive team, and he made it because Oladipo got hurt. Like, Oladipo was in the running for.
I guess they're looking at it from like that Paul Pierce standpoint, where like he's a solid defender.
I'm fine with you saying that he's a great shooter, and he played good defense. But I don't think nobody is jumping on it, because Paul Pierce can play defense. Like, I don't think we're not screaming on the table saying he Bruce Bowen or Tayshaun Prince. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we're not saying that, though. And to me, like, that's when I hear elite 2-way, I mean, you're the best at your position. You're the best at both sides. You just named his points. 20? You can't beat. It's a lot of guys that average 20. Like, and you in the system of, and you're the greatest shooter. You don't miss.
And like that's my thing. Like when you bring up Clay's name, there's only one list you can put him on. Like when we start breaking guys down into these categories of great defender or a great shooter or a great passer, there's only one list you can put Clay on, and that's a top 5 shooter of all time. Whether you say, well, of course, we're gonna all say Steph Curry's first, and whoever you say is 2 is up for debate. You can say Clay, you can say Larry Bird. Like there's so many different guys you can put. You can say Reggie Miller, you can say Ray Allen. You can start saying role players, but there's only one list you can really put Clay on. Like you're not gonna put Clay as a top 10 shooting guard of all time. You're not gonna say, like, bro, what we're talking about right now, we're talking about the best 25 of the last 25 years, pretty much. How many seasons can we even say Clay was one of the best 25 during this era?
That's what I'm saying.
Because, like, if you are NBA, that means you would have been one of the 6 best guards. And then, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, he made All-NBA 2015. They won a title. He made it again 2016. They went 73-9. Both were 13. I mean, yeah, he shoots over 40% from 3 every year he's been in the game. But it's like outside of the shooting and being a part of this Warriors thing, you know, Splash Bros, all that kind of stuff, I'm not taking Clay over Ray Allen, over T-Mac, over Vince Carter, over Reggie Miller. I'm not taking even if we keep it in the like even if we keep it in just the guard perspective of his own era. I'm not taking him over Dame Lillard. Yeah, he's been hurt. He has this stuff going on now with the vaccination. I'm not taking Clay over Kyrie Irving. I'm not taking you over your teammate Curry. I mean, there's just so many guys like right now from that guard spot, or just historically from that guard spot. I just can't take Clay over those guys. So for him to feel like it was egregious for him to be left off the list is crazy. Because Tracy McGrady, who I
he's
think
not better than T-Mac at no level.
Like,
no
bro,
level.
I think T-Mac better than Ray Allen, but I got to still give respect to Ray Allen for what he did on the 3-point list. He went and got 2 titles. Longevity-wise, he lasts longer than T-Mac, stuff like that. You know, I think T-Mac's peak was way better than Ray Allen's. Like, T-Mac's peak was...
T-Mac peak,
it's me versus Kobe. Like,
they were saying Kobe or T-Mac. We have never said Clay or Harden. We have never said Clay or Curry. It has been time, like, and I'm using this example because it's so current. It has been times I've seen people on Twitter said Jaylen Brown better than Tatum. I don't think that's true, but I've seen it. And people believe Paul George is better than Kawhi. Well, Paul George thought he was better than Kawhi, but you know what I'm saying? Like people think Paul George is better than Kawhi Leonard. Nobody has ever said Clay is better than his own teammate in Curry. I don't. And T-Mac, if people say, "Oh, Clay scored whatever he did," what was it, 39 in one quarter, something like that.
Yeah, 37.
Until you can score 13 points in 11 seconds, what T-Mac did, I don't want to hear nothing.
Bro, you can take. I like to start there. You can take Clay. I don't care what metrics you want to use because we can debate that all day. But just from a general standpoint, you take Clay best season and you take T-Mac best season. This man got a season where he averaged more than 10 points than Clay best season. T-Mac led the league in scoring with 32 points a game. Clay best season 22 points a game. Like, to me, that's enough. Yeah, T-Mac did on 24 shots, but I mean, Clay still get up 17, 18 shots.
And they had threes. At the same, you know, because T-Mac get fouled, so like Klay Thompson don't really get fouled like that. Like, so
and like T-Mac wasn't even a great for a guard or wing. He wasn't even a great free throw shooter. Like him and LeBron, like mid 70s. Yeah. That's not even great. Like Clay does make 88% of his.
I think before we can be egregious about Clay not making it, let's ask why Vince Carter and T-Mac. I think that's a better question than
like Clay wouldn't even beat out Dame. He wouldn't even beat out T-Mac and Vince. So I mean, to feel like he wouldn't even beat out Reggie Miller. So his resume is the same as Reggie's pretty much. He just got those titles and the one defensive player. Like Reggie has 5 All-Stars, 3 All-NBAs. Clay is a 5-time All-Star and 2 All-NBAs, but he got the 3 titles and made the All-Defensive team. So resumes are similar. Of course, Reggie had all the 3-point records before he retired, and then of course Ray took him out, and we know Curry's on his way to knocking out everybody.
Yeah, but at the same point, Reggie led the team, and I think that's your barometer of there. Like I said, if you was able to do it, you would have shown it by now. And he hasn't done it. So I just want everybody to get that out of here. Go and get Clay out of here. So I think Reggie, T. Matt, Vince Carter are up for debate. We can talk about two guys internationally, Paul Gasol, Tony Parker. You mentioned Paul Gasol earlier. We talked about point guards, Tony Parker. Where does these two guys, because they changed the game too? Because we can sit here and say Spurs, Tim Duncan, but we still outside of Keem Olajuwon, we still really haven't seen a big man win without a good scoring guard. And Tony Parker brought that for years and years and years. And didn't he grab a Finals MVP as well?
Yeah, he won in 2007 when they beat the Cavs. They swept the Cavs.
So in a 4-game sample size, he was better than Tim Duncan. If that's what you're saying, then it's like this guy's great. So I think a Tony Parker comes to mind. You have to. If you bring up Clay just because he's crazy, you got to bring up Kyrie. You got to bring up guys like Dame, who's been dominating from basically day one. For their respective teams. Then whether the Cavs or the Blazers could win, consistently. I think Dame has done a better job than Kyrie. But when we talk about those point guards, like does anybody else, fit the shoe and get in for this last spots?
Yeah, and like this is not a crap on Clay type of thing because.
Now you can go ahead.
Yeah, like it's not a crap on Clay type of thing, man. It's just one of those. The league, you have to honor the history of the game. So, I mean, you go look at. Okay, I don't want to be disrespectful, man. I don't want to do it, but I mean, you go look at Dolph Shay's stats. I mean, you ain't gonna tell me Kevin Love ain't a better player than damn Dolph Shay. Like, come on, man. So, like, in the general sense of like, basketball has evolved with a whole lot and stuff like that. So, like, you as a historian of the game, you still gotta honor the Bob Pettis, the Dolph Shays, all these older guys that helped cultivate the game to get it to where it is right now.
Right.
But in a general sense, I mean, come on, Chris Bosh, Pau Gasol, Kevin Love, like you would pick these guys over Dolph Shays. So, like in that respect, I will give Clay like, all right, bro, I can see why you would feel you top 75 because you go back and look at some of these old films. These dudes went dribbling like the way they dribble the ball. Kyrie make them look crazy. The way they're shooting the ball, Clay will put them to shame.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
in that sense, I can see why a lot of guys feel like, it's disrespectful you left me out the top 75. But at the same time, you gotta still honor the history of the game of what the guys did in the 40s, the 50s, 60s to get the game to where it is in 2021. So we gotta say that. We gotta say that part too.
That's why they did 75 instead of 50. So they gonna do 100 because they're not finna do that to themselves. They're not finna take off Dolph or put on Kevin Love. They're just gonna keep adding on to the team.
Yeah, smart. And like in 25 more years, in 2046, we'll have Luka, we'll have Jokic. We might see Clay on there. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, hell, at that point, you might see a LaMelo Ball. Who knows? Like, might be an all ball, brother. You gonna see on there, man? Like, who really knows? Outside of the guys, you can just clearly see it. The Kyries, maybe Clay. The Chris Bosh's. We might see Draymond on there. Like, when you think about the next 25 years,
it's a lot of players.
You really Trae Young. Like, who really knows who we're gonna see on there? And I threw LaMelo Ball in because, hey, bro, I'm sorry, bro. When I said it was gonna be that good, I ain't mean like ass, like trash. I just mean I didn't think you'd be like all-star level. But the dude been killing the game, man, make me look bad, bro. 30 points a game and triple-double and stuff. I ain't mean like you're gonna be a bust. I was just saying like I didn't think you would be what everybody projecting the Hall of Fame and multi-time All-Star. And he on his way, man.
LeVar Ball ain't never been wrong before, man.
I went down to respect dude. I said he wasn't gonna be all that. But hey, LaMelo Ball, shout out LaMelo Ball, man. That boy killing the game out here, man. He keeping Charlotte on the map.
Facts. Yeah. So all right. So we got Doe, we got Kyrie, got Dan, you got Parker, got Paul Gasol. So I guess so we got the same 21. So just give me the 5 guys you would add to the list.
Oh man, like it's tough, man. Like I always want to put T-Mac on the list. Like I think T-Mac peak of his powers rival Kobe, and I think he's better than Reggie and Ray, who did make the list. So I would definitely throw T-Mac on there. You and I, we voted for Dwight personally, so I would definitely put Dwight on there. Man, like it's just so many close calls. I think we said Carmelo Anthony. Like you gotta put Carmelo on there.
Do we add the other? Like every league got a Terrell Davis, and this league Terrell Davis is Grant Hill. That man put like that stretch he put on for 4 or 5 years.
I mean,
it's
really,
one of the greatest stretches ever.
Like really, like 6 years. Like his whole Detroit tenure.
Ridiculous.
That dude was one of the best players in the game, man.
And that's why it's so hard to like leave him off, just because you knew what he's supposed to be. But I guess because we know the track record and he came back and been a role player, that you can all right. So like, because I love Grant Hill. He was my favorite players. Like, so I would be okay if we left Grant Hill off, whatever. But we know peak powers, he on this list. Peak powers.
And that's the thing about these lists. Like some guys get on because of longevity, and some guys can make it because of the peak of their powers. Like, and I'm one of those people who wants to judge it both ways. Like,
right, you gotta be a little both.
Like the Grant Hills and the T-Max, like what those dudes did for like 7-8 year stretches. Like, come on, man. Like, how can you not honor those dudes for like a 7-8 year period? Like 400, 500 games where they were just averaging like T-Mac for like a 7-year period was like 26, 6 and 5, or like Grant Hill was like 22, 7 and 7. Like there's basically LeBron freaking James just lists on the point side. Like how can you not honor those dudes for like those 6-7 year stretches? Yeah, you want to reward longevity too, because that's part of being great. Like, can you do what you did? Yeah, like can you like Kobe Bryant? He doubles that. Like, can you do what you did for 15 years? Like that's part of being great too, while winning titles. Right. So you do want to honor that. Or like the Reggie Millers, man, like just like 17 years of just putting up 18 to 22 points, nailing threes, shooting 90% from the free throw line.
Deep playoff runs.
Yeah, like making 6 East Finals and stuff like that. Like that stuff counts too. But I mean, for like a 7-year, 8-year stretch, man, what Grant Hill and T-Mac did was crazy.
How about to say you can throw Penny in that too, a great 6-year stretch or something like that. Like he was great and didn't last long. You know what I mean? But
Penny had like a good 4. Like Derrick Rose, him and Penny both had like
Derrick Rose too. Yeah.
Like, and I see those guys are where like to me that's when you kind of got to draw the line,
right? Like, yeah, I agree to that.
Yeah, because like
T-Mac had a longer career though. Like. I feel like Derrick Rose was more of a flash in the pan. Penny was grateful. Like I said, it wasn't really maybe 3-4 years, but he was at the top. But I will argue to anybody about T-Mac and Grant Hill. Like for like as long as we live, like y'all just don't understand how great that duo would have been together. Like that would have been, man. We got robbed. We got robbed on that one.
Oh yeah, man. Like from the time T-Mac got to Orlando, I mean, that dude the dude increases points by like 10, 12 points from Toronto to Orlando. Yeah, that's taking more shots and stuff like that. But at the same time, he was leading his team. Like and that was the league of the 2000s. Like a dominant guy is going to take 20 to 24 shots. Kobe did it. AI did it. That was just the game. You're going to take 20 to 24 shots.
So if I'm putting in somebody, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna put T Mac there. Okay, for me. I'm going to put Reggie Miller in there. I feel like you got Ray Allen, you got to put Reggie Miller. I think they pretty much have the. I mean, yeah, Ray Allen. I think they pretty much had the same career, like in my opinion. So Reggie Miller, T Mac, as well. We didn't talk about.
Yeah, like I'm with you on that. Like by having Ray Allen in unanimous, you got to put guys of a similar ilk in, which would be Reggie and T Mac.
We didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about point guards, but I feel like we had to mention them. The glove. That's a good pick, right? Because I don't think he did make the 25 originally, and the 75. So he did make the 75. So Gary Payton. I think I'm going to put Gary Payton in mine.
I got to go with the glove too. I got to go with the glove.
And man.
Like point guard's a pretty deep spot.
Yeah,
but I think we got to say he's probably one of the 10 to 12 best point guards all time.
And because we're saying that, it's a crazy way you rank this. I think Dennis Rodman is a top 10 power forward. Just because of impact. I think his impact outweighs, like, can he be a best player? No. Like, we know that. Like, I say this all the time. I say Ben Simmons is the Dennis Rodman of today. Like, impact is so greater that
it's crazy.
It
transcends the stat sheet. That's why the stat sheet can't be the end all be all.
And for those reasons, like Mark Cuban, for those reasons, I got to put Dennis Rodman in. Like, I got T Mac, Reggie, Dennis Rodman, and the glove. So I got one more spot for me. Do you agree with Dennis Rodman, or are you gonna go Paul Gasol?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to see Dennis on there, man.
Okay, like, so we got the same.
You can't write the history of the game without Dennis Rodman, man.
So we got the same four. So now it's like, who gets this last? Who gets the last? Cause like I said earlier, we named 19 people. Then we added Dirk. We added AD.
Yeah, so that's 21. 19. I know we are talking about Melo and Dominique.
So, yeah, Melo them. So and we put Dwight in, who wasn't. So like I said, that was part of it. So we got one spot left. It's a lot of guys you can go. I know I ain't going. I ain't going Klay Thompson. But let's debate. He did make the 75. Let's talk about the Dame Lillard. I guess Kyrie Irving, Tony Parker thing. Like guys who are pretty similar resume wise and stuff like that. Like Dame doesn't have the championship. Of course, Parker has 4 of those. Kyrie hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history with the Cavs. Kyrie's 50, 40, 90 club. Tony Parker, you mentioned earlier, Finals MVP in 2007 with the Spurs. Accolade-wise, like all NBA and All-Star, they're pretty similar in that regard. Dame is I know Tony Parker is like 6 All-Stars, 4 All-NBAs. Kyrie's about the same, about 6 and 3. And I think Dame has made 7 and 7 All-Stars, 7 All-NBAs. And we know he's been a dominant number one, leading the Blazers to the playoffs multiple times. Dame time hit a lot of big shots and stuff like that. So it's like, where do we kind of debate those guys on that that list? It's so tricky because I believe Dame's a better player than Kyrie. And for all the accolades outside of the championship, I always say that. I always say, like, if LeBron chose to go to the Charlotte Hornets or Portland Trail Blazers, Kemba and Dame would have a ring, not Kyrie. Like, I strongly believe that. Like, so and with Dame is like the Blazers do way more than they should on like from the history of the Terry Stotts era. Like, they did way more than they should, and it showed in the playoffs when it got to the series. It was pretty easy to beat them. So I think I will lean. I think I'm already going to say this. I'm already going to say I'm putting Dame over Kyrie. I guess it's more so, do I value Tony Parker's attribution to like the Spurs dynasty, because that is a real dynasty. Celtics 08, the Spurs. And how much do you attribute to Tony Parker? Where I said earlier, Shaq don't win without Kobe. Bill Russell don't win without none of those guards. He had the Casey Jones, Sam Jones, Havliceks, all those guys.
Yeah, Elijah Warren and Dirk are the only big guys that won without a dominant guard. Like
right.
Dirk's guard was
Old Kid and Terry.
Plus Jason Terry had the best playoff run of a lot of guys ever. And then Elijah Warren had Sam Cassell, Kenny Smith, and of course, Robert Horry, some other guys surrounding him. Of course, he had Clyde for the second one, but mainly just some role players.
So like, and obviously Spurs had Ginobili in that. But and Doug Robinson started off, but I know Doug Robinson, Dave Robinson started off. So I to me, I just have to lean Tony because not only is he part of a dynasty championships, but he also got the Finals MVP. Like, and when you talk about Finals MVP outside of Andre Iguodala, they all been like stars like. In the 2000s, Chauncey and Tony Parker are the worst ones.
Yeah.
And Chauncey a Hall of Fame. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
the history of the game is crazy, man. Like these guys are gonna have Finals MVPs and Steph Curry doesn't have one. That's just crazy.
That's crazy to say when you think about it. So I think Dame's a better player than Tony Parker.
And like that's where I was finna go. Like when we comparing Dame to Steph and to Westbrook, like he's in that upper echelon of his era. We're debating that. Like even at Tony's peak powers, was he ever the best point guard in the game? Like were we taking Tony over Chris Paul or
never? Or Darren Williams?
Even that, I'll say even D Will. Like D Will's 3-4 year peak. Are we taking Tony over Steve Nash? Like were we taking Tony over Nash? Like was it more because he was part of the Spurs?
No, so that's a good point. You're right. You just talked me out of it. So yeah, I think Dame probably the answer then, unless you want to. I mean, unless you think Vince Carter should be there. Dame. What Dame has done from
like Vince Carter's longevity really pushed him up on like the scoring list and the 3-point list and stuff like that. But even at the peak of his powers, he was. He's more highlight.
He's more highlights than. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not saying that.
I'm taking Dame over VC. I mean, much respect to VC. I'm taking Dame over Vince.
All right, so let's just put Dame in there. I think that's fine with me. Because even like you said, that's a good point. Like we're saying he could be the best point guard in the league. I mean,
we're debating Dame as one of the top 10 players. We're not even debating. He's definitely one of the 10 best players in the game. But we're debating him as the best point guard with
Steph, who we say is probably 2 or 3, right? And then Russ, who we say is top 10. So you got to throw him on there.
Yeah. And the only thing that's lacking on Dame's side is just some more playoff success, and of course just the accolades. Because of course Steph has the titles, the MVPs, 73-9 record. Russ has the triple-double crown, MVP, 2 scoring titles. While Dame is just, he's carrying the Blazers in a smaller market. He's putting up crazy numbers, making all-star teams, making all NBA, but he's not getting that extra oomph on the resume side, like with the scoring title or with the MVP or like Russ has 3 assist titles and Steph has a scoring title. Like Dame isn't leading the league in assists or nothing like that, where you can something he can add to his resume. He's just a dominant guard. Crazy range and 6 All-Star, 6 All-NBA.
I'm about to say it'd be scary to see him with a top 10 player. Curry got one. Or he had one with KD.
Durant.
Kyrie had both, and Russ had Durant. So and Kyrie had LeBron. So I mean, imagine if he got a top 10, what success he would bring. So and that's why a lot of people who make the argument like. Just imagine if just put Dame with Giannis. Watch what happened. Like
Dame with a Giannis, Dame with Embiid.
Come on, like
Karl Anthony Towns, like somebody.
You even give him Cat, who's probably top 15. Give him Cat and see what he do. Like his best player he ever had was LaMarcus Aldridge on the way down or CJ McCollum. Come on, man. I mean, everybody we named earlier that we added or we talked about all played with a great player. Like maybe except Reggie Miller.
Steve Nash at his peak had Sean Marion and Stoudemire, who were at the time like
all NBAs.
For that era, all NBA type players.
I'm about to say outside of maybe Reggie Miller, he probably had he had a complete team, but he never had though. He had Ron Artest for that one, and Jermaine O'Neal for that part. But he was 18 years in, 17, how old he was. So that I already count that. So like outside of Reggie, everybody else we named played with an elite player. Kobe had Shaq, LeBron played with all the people he played with. Tim Duncan had Tony Parker, which we didn't put in the list, but AI even got to play with Melo. Chris Paul. Well, I guess Chris Paul too. I guess So
well, I mean, at the time, I mean, I guess you can count Blake as one of the better players in the league. I mean, yeah, he's been injured, but for that era, time frame when they were together, they were considered one of the powerhouses in the West.
Durant and Harden together now. Durant had Curry,
and Chris Paul played with Harden too.
Yeah, and I guess we should say I guess when I look at it, Giannis and Dwight. But I lied. Dwight played with Kobe and Harden. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. But I'll think about Orlando. But Giannis, I mean, people told me all the time Chris Middleton wasn't enough. Drew Holiday ain't gonna make no difference. That's what they said. So Giannis. I guess Iverson for prime peak powers. And Reggie Miller. Yeah,
Eric Snow and Aaron McKee ain't up there.
Hey, what's the Tyrone Hill, man?
Yeah, that
George Lynch.
Hey, like you can go to Kembe on the defensive side, but that's about it.
That's about it. So outside of those guys, man, like that's sad. That's sad. So Dame, we'll put Dame in there. Him, Iverson, and Giannis are the only ones who ain't played with an elite player. And that's so greatness right there, in my opinion. That's a top 5 player right there who can do it without, if they ain't won a championship in Portland. Like I remember that. This is a conversation for a long time, but I remember they were talking about Dame not even being the best Blazer of all time because Luke Walton came in for like 4 years, won a championship, and left. And Clyde being better, I was like, man, look, just give Dame the right team. Cause I don't know, that comes another day. But Dame ain't gonna be the best Blazer because he ain't gonna go nowhere. He already said he ain't going.
I mean, like this might be the year though. This year or next year might be the time when we see Dame make his exit.
He better.
I mean, we left him in Portland, but
free Dame.
We were talking about Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups won the all-time point guard, but not for this. But that's his new coach, and let's see how it goes. But Dame, this could be Dame's last stand in Portland, man.
Yeah, it could be. Hey, that's our show. That's our 26 players outside of the 50, man, making it into it. So I hope
I might say we basically kept some of the same lists. Like, we said Ray Allen, like, Giannis, we said Melo, Kobe, Curry, Davis, Duncan, Kevin Durant, like all the new additions. We said Kevin Garnett, we said James Harden, AI, LeBron, we said J Kidd, Kawhi. We put Dame on there. Much respect, but we did take Bob McAdoo off. We put Reggie in there.
We just let Dominique off.
Yeah, we said Nash, we said Dirk, we said Chris Paul. We put the glove in Gary Payton. We went Paul Pierce. We got Dennis Rodman. Of course, D Wade, Russ, and then like you said, we added T Mac and a few others. So
T Mac and Dwight Howard instead of Dominique and Bob McAdoo. I mean, pretty much where we at. Pretty much where we at on that. So just remember, Dwight Howard should be on, and Clay ain't close.
Pretty much, man.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
All right, man. We the proudest, man. Appreciate Rashad. We'll catch y'all next time, man. We out.